Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
I am working man, I get things done. Work for the Holy Ghost, work for the Son. I am a working man, oh yes I am. I am a special agent of the Lamb. Now I'm gonna wear your covering.
And you're listening to
I'm gonna wear your righteous mane.
Live from the Path. We're coming to you from the Pathway Studios.
I thought it was something else.
Here in Johnston proper.
I was so close to being upgraded. So excited.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You took so long to say Live from the Path. I was like, are we changing the name of the show?
No.
Is something changed? I'm scared.
Sorry.
Mom and Dad.
And then I was reassured, Ben.
Things were not behaving themselves.
I considered the way that you said that, and then I moved on.
Hey, I got Pope style advice today.
Oh,
boy.
Okay. Whiz bang. All right, here was going on the program this evening. First, I saw somebody posted something on Facebook, and it was basically a calling out of their church body.
Mm-hmm.
And
How do you do it?
And yeah, I had some thoughts.
Oh.
So I'm kind of one of the questions is going to be, when you think you've been wronged by a church leader or your church community or like something, like what is the best way to go about this? And how do you think about, like, where do you draw the line and go, you know what, it's not a healthy place for me anymore. And I think that dovetails a little bit into an article that I found, which is 10 wrong views about the church from the Christian Post. And so so I think maybe we can get into that one, and we'll see.
It might help to like talk about how to talk to people about their church hurt too, right?
Yeah.
Because like it's not. I mean, it's common.
Yeah.
It's real common. Both modern day and like people who were like, they feel like they were either hurt by their church or hurt by their religion.
Yep.
Like even 20, 30 years ago, from coming from a kid,
Yeah.
and they walk away with this perspective. And it'd be kind of interesting to like just talk about how to even talk about that without also like, gossiping about the people of whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like how you walk that line without, just getting into sin territory yourself by, slandering other people or being like, hey, my version of Christianity is better than everybody else's. That's the best temptation, or the easiest temptation, is to somebody tell you how hurt their church was. And you're like, our church isn't like that. Our church does great things, blah, 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 right? And then it becomes a battle of church against church instead of a relationship with Jesus.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just got a 1-star review from someone who I haven't seen for 10 years.
Oh,
for our
man.
church. And then some spewed out something about doctrine or something. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And it's like, yeah.
What a wild thing to go back 10 years later and do a review on the church.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Okay, all right.
This
Spiteful.
person really hurt me.
Yeah,
I mean, here's the thing is, if you carried that around for 10 years, I don't even know how legitimate that is, because like that's hurting you way more than it's hurting somebody else.
Yeah, it was.
Dang.
That's interesting.
Stinks. Sorry, Dan.
But I guess I don't care, I mean, it's kind of like people read reviews, I guess, but anybody who would read that would go like, okay, that's weird.
If you're going to be swayed by that kind of review,
This is
They
hilarious,
might assume
right?
they just were in the church.
Can you
as
see
well, but-
Jesus reading the Nazareth Times, and he's like, Bethsaida gave me a 1-star review.
Yeah, right.
You think it's because I said woe to you?
Yeah.
You think they took that wrong?
you pronounced a whoa.
And there's a 9 thumbs down from some lepers. One guy seemed to like it.
Or his thumb was broken.
1 out of 10 lepers recommend Jesus.
I was going to send a thank you card.
Oh, that's actually a pretty funny, biblically accurate T-shirt.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Also, Mike's got some Pope-style advice, and we get some advice on Dear Life from the Path.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the situation. Okay, so maybe let's do this article first, and then we're gonna wait, you didn't have an Ask the Pastor. You had
I didn't have an Ask the Pastor. I did some digging after the Ask the Pastor from last week.
Yeah.
You're right. This friggin' Jacob thing, like the sticks don't mean anything.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I was looking for something deeper than I was, but there's something cool about Jacob did a thing and like was trying to like be in it, like was being in this thing, and God just went, yeah, I'm gonna bless this.
Yeah, that's gonna be
like
fun.
I'm just gonna go ahead and bless this.
And
Like, the
actually-
sticks didn't do the thing. There's nothing crazy, wicked about poplars.
Yeah.
It's just something that like it was a physical manifestation expression of something he was trying to do, and God went, I have every plan of fulfilling promises through this, so I'm gonna go ahead and get
You know what's interesting? I was thinking about that situation this week and thought that, like, one, how awesome that he even bothers to bless something like
Yeah,
that. Because
totally.
and think of our
Especially
attempt.
Jacob.
You got just think of a prayer rocks in your house, or like something that you do that like. You don't have to do. There's no biblical prescription that it's done. It's
Light
not
a
magic
candle.
or anything.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
But the belief or the thought that God goes, I see what you're trying to do there. I can work with that. Sure.
Yes,
Like
right.
whatever feeble or like thing that we're just grasping onto. I don't know. It's super encouraging and also like fatherly and like I don't know.
Oh, totally.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Like there's something beautiful about the paternal relationship. The God to man relationship that God is like glorifying in this piece with Jacob, even though he does everything wrong. Like he screws up the vast majority of this stuff.
Yeah.
And like he just goes, yeah, I mean, I made you a promise. And like you are that and you're doing this kind of thing, but like, yeah, I'm gonna offer you riches and I'm gonna fulfill the promises I made to your forefathers. Like your grandfather, I meant it.
Yeah.
I absolutely meant it.
I want to do it. Okay. Anyway, so the article was 10 wrong views about the church.
Oh, how many think we're gonna agree with? I say 4 out of 10.
I'm gonna go with 5.
You go 5, Mike? How many think we're gonna agree with?
7.
7. Oh gosh, 7's high. Dan?
Okay.
That we're going to agree with? I'm going to say 2.
2. All right. All right. See what happens.
Oh, that's a good point. Wrong view. Do I agree that this is wrong? I
Yeah,
suppose
right.
is the okay. This is gonna be hard.
Disagree with the author.
This is harder to keep track of. Okay,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Here we go.
We're doing double negatives here.
10 wrong views about the church. In today's hyper-individualistic and consumer-driven culture, many believers hold views about the church that are shaped more by modern convenience than by biblical truth.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with 8.
That's-
Dan here's the premise and goes, crap, 8 out of 10.
It's taking a turn. These misconceptions are not just theoretical, unnecessary semicolon. They influence how Christians live, serve, relate, and grow in Christ. As a result, we are witnessing a disconnection, not disconnect, between professing believers and the body of Christ, the very church Jesus died for and is coming back for. To recover a biblical understanding of the church, Dan, we must confront 10 common erroneous views. No period.
Amen.
Okay. This
New idea. How many times is Ben going to call out something grammatically wrong in this article?
this is a legit website. Why there should be a
Vegas should have
period.
That's true. The Christian Post is like, I mean, is this the best what we have to offer? Because usually
they
we're getting
kinda-
stuff from like Christian
Beliefnet.org.
Yeah, beliefnet.org.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 1, erroneous view. The body of Christ is only mystical. The body of Christ is only mystical. Many Christians think of the church only as a mystical or invisible body, which allows them to believe they can be part of the universal church without committing to a local congregation. Okay, it's a weird way to put it.
Yeah, right. I was
They
gonna
don't
say.
have to go. They don't think they have to attend.
Right,
Exactly.
yes, yeah.
I
Right.
can be a Christian and not.
They believe in the mysticism of
Yeah. Scripture, however, affirms that the church is both visible and invisible. While there is a spiritual unity among all true believers, that unity is meant to be expressed tangibly through local assemblies. Even the promises of Scripture were primarily given to a covenant community, not to isolated individuals. A Christian disconnected from the local church will struggle to fully obey the New Testament. Yeah.
I hear this sometimes, right? Like people are like, I don't want to go to church. I'm good on my own. Me and the big guy upstairs are
Yeah,
fine.
right.
All the stuff, you know, and like, I was just having this conversation earlier today, I think, and it was about, look, people who have an indwelling presence of the Holy Spirit all tend to start acting the same way because like we start to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit. And so like it's not like they're all just robots, right? But like their heart posture tends to start all going kind of a similar direction, which is why Christian communities can tend to get like large scale things done, both for charity of humanity around them and like works that they want to do. And so like you find this weird outlier who's like, yeah, God built me to be the lone wolf. And then I'm like, all right. I mean, it's not like I can't find a biblical example of a dude or two out there just hoofing it on their own.
Right.
Right. But like the weeping pastor is the kind of guy I think of, the weeping prophet. And then Paul's out getting his whooped at every town and producing fruit on his way. And you have a subscription to Fox News, and then you're trying to convince everyone to go to Hillsdale College, right? This is the fruit you're producing. And so I'm like, hey man, like if we're going to use the Bible to reference and say this is the way that God has tuned you to be, like I expect to see X amount of fruit coming out of you and a couple more bruises, and I'm seeing 0 of those things. So hard to take in.
Yeah. I get this, and you get this a lot with, I know, families who get involved in, say, sports or like other things that are, where there's a competence church. And like, you start to move this definition of like, well, my community is these people, and it's an outreach. And like, obviously they're not going to church. And so now I have the ability to kind of witness to them. And like, I think there's a caution in, like I don't know. Sometimes you just ain't going to make it to church, right? It happens, right? But I think this belief that I don't have to be a part of like a local community, or I don't like. If you're in the have to territory, I'm not even sure that's the right conversation. Like, why don't you want to be there?
Right, exactly. When you gather,
this is when this is when all the other people are doing it. This is when your community's gathering. Like, I just don't.
And it's so much bigger than like the 10 o'clock hour or whatever.
Oh, totally.
You know, it's that community. We've mentioned the word several times. It's so much more involved. It's your life as you're living your faith out together with these people. And
I want a lot more than your Sunday morning.
Yeah. So people who think that way tend to only think of it as the 1 hour event that happens where they sing a few songs and hear a sermon and go home and go off and do their own life. So,
and a guy told me recently, I'm not for small talk, so I don't do church anymore. But me and the big guy are good. Huh? And I was like, fantastic, friend. No. I'm gonna go ahead and love you enough right now to not feed you the line of crap that every other person in your life is willing to give you. That's ridiculous. You are incorrect completely, and I can point to at least 12 things that I know have happened in the last 7 days that tell me that you are absolutely in no way good with the big guy. So we're gonna move forward with that.
Yeah, and you know what's like? There's a particular guy that I'm thinking of who did.
I think every one of us has
like every time they've blown up their life in some way or another, it followed like within a day they like call and be like, "This is for the best." Like, I know it doesn't look like it, but this is the right decision, and this is what's best for me. Blah blah blah, and like. No, it isn't. Like, there's no way that it is. And so, like, it's this type of, like, people, like, you're the exception to the pattern.
Yes,
the whole church goes and has believed for centuries that coming gathering is important and being part of the community is important, regardless of whatever social barriers may otherwise exist. There's people who would kill for the opportunity to be able to consistently meet with their church community and celebrate and sing or whatever. And you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And like, I get it. You can be a Pharisee about it, but that's more of an accusation to like, I don't want you to hassle me than like, hey, I really want to be there and I'll figure out a way to make it happen because God tells me that it's important. So, it's just an odd posturing. And like, I've not seen outside of some situations of which it's like, hey, you literally can't.
Right.
Yeah. Like, is God going, hey, the guy who like is a missionary by himself and has no one around him does not have a strong community? Okay, that's kind of the nature of his circumstances. I've never actually been in a situation where someone's trying to convince me this wasn't a problem who was actually in that limited of a of like,
anytime I've ever seen this, it's either a reaction to pain or reaction to pride.
Yeah.
Like those are the two things. I've been hurt, so I'm not in community, or I don't need that anymore. I'm good enough.
Yeah. Number two, the wrong views about the church. The church is like a supermarket. Modern believers often shop for churches the way they choose retail outlets, looking for the best music, kids programs, preaching style, or convenient location. I'm not sure it means you have to go to an inconvenient location. Or someone,
I mean, unless God full out is like telling you straight up, hey, you go the other 10 miles.
Yeah. I have a toll booth guy I'm working on. I want you to swing by and have to talk to him every Sunday.
Maybe that's the deal. I'm like, sure somebody's got that kind of story, but it doesn't seem to be the par for the course.
So it is interesting here because they finished by saying the church is not a consumer product. It is a covenantal community. What are they paying him by semicolon? God himself places each member in the body as he desires. We are called to discern where God is planting us, not to treat church membership like a gym subscription. And so, like, understood, but, like, I mean, it's not just because these things are true for you doesn't mean you're in the wrong spot. Hey, I didn't make it inconvenient to go. Hey, the music has to suck. Like these things are not necessary.
It's not a checklist for I can't have these things.
Right.
But like, I think that's fair. I think that the call to consumerism is probably fair though, because every one of us has run into plenty of situations where they're like, I left that place because I didn't like the lighting. Everything else was great. I really liked the teaching. The people were good. All that different stuff. But just like, man, I really just couldn't get it past that magenta hue. Right. Yes. Yeah. They switched donuts and I don't like that coffee anymore.
I think the question is did you ask Yahweh? Did you ask him?
Yeah.
Right? Did you even ask him what church you were supposed to be in?
Yeah.
Right? If you asked him that question and he answered, or you asked that question and you don't feel like he was coming back in any strong force or not, then you're like, I'm going to go here then.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like if when you like place your priorities over his, that's when we have a problem, because he might have you talking to a toll booth guy. He might have you driving 45 minutes specifically because you're going to run into some guy 2 years from now. I don't know. He does these things. I don't do these things. And so like he sets these, same thing with, like I hear this a lot when people are like, the church is not going the direction that I want it to go, or like the teaching was X or whatever. And I'm like, look, if God told you to leave, cut a trail.
Yeah,
if you prayed about it and they refuse to accept any type of biblical, like, I don't want to say reprimand, but like scriptural, like looks at it and says, look, the things that you're saying are unbiblical. We need to talk about that. If they have closed ears to it and there's no fruits in that church, it's time to go.
Yeah,
right?
for that reason.
But like, did you consider that God is asking you to stay because people are misunderstanding things and you're the representation of what true gospel actually looks like in there before you decided to bail out of convenience? Like that, I don't appreciate. I think like you at least have to be willing to have God be in the middle of the conversation. And then if he answers you to not do the thing you want to do, which is pretty classic for him, then you stay, you know?
Yeah.
Number 3 is wrong views about the church. The church exists for good experience. Some approach church for a weekly spiritual boost, a moment of entertainment, or emotional encouragement. While encouragement is good, the church's mission is far greater than producing a spiritual high. The church is the pillar and foundation of the truth, 1 Timothy 3:15, a training ground for discipleship and the primary vehicle through which God advances his kingdom. It is where believers are formed into the image of Christ through the Word, the Spirit, the covenant. This is a little bloated. Whatever.
Look for the semicolon.
Here's the thing: is they're interchanging. They're using the word church in like 3 different contexts.
Yeah.
And this is what gets very difficult, because like if you say, "Did you go to church?" Right? In our context, it means, "Did you go on Sunday at 10?" Right? Or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like the way he's describing a church is very much how God looks at a church and goes, this is the body of believers that are a agreed upon community. And yes, we are on the hook for discipleship and we are on the hook for, but like that does not happen between 10 and 11. Like 10 and 11, like, or whatever the message tends to be a thing that like God is communicating to a group of people, or like to better understand his word and his character. And like, but like, the discipleship stuff, it can happen through classes and corporate whatever, but like a lot of times it happens through individual relationships and accountability people. And like these are individuals within a church body,
right? And
not necessarily a programming problem on Sunday. And so like, I think that word's just getting used broadly.
Yeah, the word, actually, the poor word here was weekly. But like, if I think about the people that I'm surrounded with in my church community, are they a spiritual boost? Yes. Do they provide entertainment? Sure. Are they an emotional encouragement? Like my church for me is those things. Yeah. It's just not a weekly problem. Like these are what the people are.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a tweetable tweet. You know. It's like, oh, that's a great little quote. You know, oh, I feel good about myself now. It's the community in itself that you feed off of.
Which is interesting. I was thinking this Sunday, I was teaching, and we're in 2 Samuel, like we did 1 Samuel to start, and like it's a bit dry. Like it's a bit dry of a thing. Like there's stories going on, and there's like a lot of people, and they're from a lot of different places, and like there's a lot of kind of like there's some lessons to take away from it, but like it's kind of the same thing. Like listen to Yahweh, don't go after your own stuff, and like it's essentially that, and then repeated where people keep missing those two things.
The story of Israel
over and over again. And I'm like, this is a little dry, and I'm aware of this, but I'm thinking. Every once in a while I get real self-conscious about it. And then I was trying to think, well, like, what is my actual philosophy here? Like, I could just skip it. I could move on to other things. I could prepare some talking points and stuff, and things that I don't ever really do. And I thought, well, why don't I do that? And like one of the things that occurred to me is I look at teaching on a Sunday morning as a slow burn. Like I don't look at it that I have a responsibility to create a moment or a flashpoint or like a thing that precisely calls somebody to a thing outside of whatever God might be doing with the thing that I'm teaching that week. And I'm not saying it's wrong or bad to do that stuff. I'm just saying that like in my mind, I'm not if you come there looking to say, like, I wonder what he's going to teach today, as if it's the thing that's going to call you and like blast you off, it's probably not going to do that.
Sure.
But what I do expect it to do is like this slow burn of thing when, like, as you're reading on your own, you're seeing connections because you've been steeped in it for the last, X number of times.
Totally,
showing you how to read the scripture. It's how, like, and that God does create those out of whatever inane thing that I actually am covering that week, because, like, oftentimes, regardless of what I thought of, he'll use it and it'll hit somebody in some way or another. But the reason it's possible is because it actually is a community thing. As a community, we are doing this. We are walking through this thing.
Right.
We are building foundations of things, and then, like, it's one of the folks from the church is like at college, and like. The things that we're talking about over the last 2 years are now like showing up when they're interacting with other people, talking and learning and stuff. And so anyway, I say that because, like, I think if it's not a community, then these are mostly events, and then you have to have specific outcomes if you want a successful event. Like, you better send someone out the door with the 5 things they're going to hold on to, and you better like create like flash moments of which like change or die type of stuff, because you don't have the extended relationship or community to do that. But to get the value out of that, you actually have to invest in it. Like, you got to be around. You got to be around the people. You got to be around the events. You got to like do the things that the community is doing, and the community thrives together. And so, like, it is just there's a uniqueness to that, and it's different than like, what did I get out of it, or did I have a boost, or like whatever. All right. We better get moving through these things. Here we go. Church exists for good.
We haven't disagreed with any of it yet, have we?
No, I don't think so. Number 4, the church is a physical building. That's the wrong view about the church. I think we already talked about that. That's true.
Sure.
A church can meet, and all churches mostly do, but that's not it's not the definition of the church. It's just a place where they meet. 5, wrong view about the church. They said the church is roaming, not rooted. With the rise of online services, many believe in the church is wherever I am. Others argue they can live like Paul's traveling team without belonging to a local body. This is kind of the first one.
Right.
I'd say that's
Hey, man, you can definitely do this, but I better see some fruit in relation to what you're doing.
Yeah, you're right.
And you don't get fruit unless you're rooted.
It's possibly to be true, but like looking at your life, it's not probable that it's true.
Right, yes, exactly.
What's my guy from the Instagram? We're looking for fruit. That's how we tell if things are happening.
Fruit. That's funny.
Yeah. Early church was rooted in actual locations. Paul's team was mobile. They were sent by and accountable to local churches.
Paul's team.
That's a weird way to.
Yeah,
weird
Paul,
way to put that.
Timothy.
The security guy.
The security.
Silas.
Who obviously sucks.
Yeah, Paul's security team is absolute trash. He's like, we really think it's a bad idea for you to go to that town. Yeah, I recognize what you're saying. No, Paul, you realize this is a bad idea. Like, there's a lot of people out there that want to attack you. He's like, yeah. No, I know.
Picking up rocks.
No, Paul, like, legitimately, people are going to kill you here. He's like, I understand what you're saying. We're going to go and clear this up, because this Zeus Hermes thing, it's got to go. We got to be done. Like, you're going to get killed if you go. We appreciate what you've said. We're going to go now.
He probably had bodyguards,
and they were hopeless.
And they were like, "Hey, look, 210 ain't worth it, man. I ain't doing it."
This is a bad idea, Paul. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go.
All right, number 6. The church is just 2 or 3 gathered. Some misapply Matthew 18:20 to claim any Christian meetup as a church. What are we doing here?
Oh, man.
Why are we even talking about this?
Once again, we're misusing the word church again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can meet up with you 3 fellas, and we're the church.
Yeah, right.
But we're not the church of the 3 dudes.
Yeah, I think I'm just disagreeing on the premise of the writer at this point in time.
Yeah, so actually, this one I would disagree with, because look at the definition. He says a true biblical church is a covenantal community with leadership, sacraments, mission, and intergenerational discipleship. You telling me like 3 dudes who are 25 or 10 dudes who are 25 can't have a church because there's not another generation of people in there?
That seems
we need
like
a token old
thing.
man.
We got to have a geezer, otherwise
we need a Henry and a baby.
Guys, we really need you to start having kids. We don't have generations yet. We got to make this a church, friends. Right now, we're just a gathering.
Can I borrow your toddler for a minute? We're having a church over here.
And like mission, like distinct by what? Like the boundaries, like my mission, all like there's 3 different communal gatherings going on related to people in this room. And like, we all share the same mission to follow Jesus.
Yeah, right.
How it expresses itself in whatever local thing, it may be a little bit different, but like, I don't need to declare a fresh one.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I disagree with this one because I think you're actually boxing it in too tight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Number 7, the church has no human leaders, only Jesus. Says Christ is indeed the head of the church, Colossians 1:18, but he governs through human leaders he appoints. Paul said he was set apart for the sake of God's elect, and 1 Corinthians affirms that God himself establishes apostles, prophets, and teachers. Rejecting all human leadership results in spiritual drift and lack of accountability. Healthy church honors the God-ordained order of leadership, which protects, equips, and shepherds believers.
This is stupid.
I don't know who he's refuting. Or he or she, the author. I mean, like, is anyone making these arguments? Any of them? Maybe a couple of them slightly,
so
but
there's no human leader here. And then the power goes out and they go, Jesus, you were supposed to send out a power bill.
I mean, you see this. I do see this every once in a while in the house church segments where they don't do any semblance of like leader.
That's a circus, by the way.
Amoeba.
Yeah.
Spiritual amoeba.
Yeah. And actually, it's interesting because like I think ours is rare where you've got like a specific person.
Yeah, right.
Because like that's where you get the snobbish house churches. They're like, oh, you're just like structural institutional church light. Like, all right, shut up. Like we're just but like I think it's this belief that like, aren't we all, and I'll say this actually, like doesn't everybody have the Holy Spirit? Sure. But it doesn't mean that everybody is gifted in the same way.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't mean everybody's responsible.
Right.
There's
Exactly. Yes.
And like I think Scripture is pretty clear. Somebody has a responsibility for groups of people. And like I don't know where else in the world in any situation where you've gone, every people communally just handle their own affairs and don't require any guidance. Like it's garbage.
Yeah.
I've never seen that work.
The metaphor that people are sheep are kind of hard to take in if they're all like business sheep who who run the entrepreneurial spirit.
Business sheep is fantastic.
Well, Paul said if they have to get to leadership, let them lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's an action being done.
Yeah.
And consequence.
And plenty of letters to go like, hey, this is specifically how you are to lead.
Yes.
Yeah. And then God going, you're going to stand account. You know?
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
the responsibility piece of like, hey, this is a gathering, but there's absolutely the dude. Like, there's a guy that I'm going to come down and be like, you're the one who's answering for this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shoot, this guy's got more skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you still like, this came up as a lot when we were talking through in the recent like Revelation class we were doing, but your leading looks like Jesus leading, which means you're sacrificing, which means you're loving, which means you're like...
Authoritative power doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so like just because someone could get it wrong, it's the same thing when you talk about biblical headship and you like submission and all this jazz that like, okay, like no one means the turd.
Right.
Like if you're a turd, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that someone doesn't take responsibility. That's really what most of those things are. They're all responsibility issues.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Number 8, the church is a democracy. Some assume the church functions like a political system where every voice carries equal authority, but the New Testament never models mob rule, unnecessary semicolon. Instead, Christ gave leadership gifts, apostles, prophets, evangelists. Healthy leaders collaborate and honor one another. Spiritual authority is rooted in biblical qualifications and calling, not popularity contests. Here's the thing, is the more often... it shows up where people are trying to get a democracy, we don't get a chance to practice humility. Leaders over non-democratic institutions have to demonstrate and should be called to demonstrate humility. It is not just their preference. It has to go with what serves the people around here the best.
Right.
And if you don't get a voice and that's not acceptable to you, that's a humility problem. You're like, my vote has to be heard. I have to have a formal way of placing my marker on the board. Again, what we're trying to do is manage what are ultimate sin issues like pride, arrogance, like bad leadership or whatever. And democracy tries to it go, at least there's rules to it. But the church doesn't accept that.
Go.
Yeah, right. Like those have to die. We don't do a ruled structure. We just go, no, we have to stop acting like that.
Yes, right. And we've got a solid truth to stand on that goes, this is the right moves anyway.
And so Dan, I think stop me if I get this wrong, right? But if I think about the first decade of Pathway, so like a lot of the ways that churches try to handle this is like pastors and elders, right? Elders become in some ways like voting bodies of people to try to help govern the thing. Dan went it was like a decade without formal elders here.
Yeah, I was a single elder.
Yes,
yeah,
right. There's like just one, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so,
but we had a leadership team,
Right,
that I gave much respect to.
yes,
But if it push came to shove, I would make a decision.
yes,
You
right,
know,
right. And
yeah.
is there wisdom in having people like some sort of recognition of people around you who've, like you said, this person can call me to account?
Yeah.
Sure, because power and influence have risks to them, and for heaven's sakes, you want...
Yeah, and we all have blind spots.
Yes, exactly right.
Absolutely right.
But that would have been a contentious thing for many churches, denominations probably more specifically, about not having elders. Like, well, he's going to go off the reservation and do whatever he wants. Dan did do whatever he wants, and what he wanted to do was serve the people.
Right.
And so that's what happened. All right. Number 9, the church is either local or global, not both. Some believers overemphasize the local flock. I'll tell you this, I don't know why this occurred to me today. I hate the use of the word flock. And I know it's a biblical concept, but I really hate it. And I think it's because, culturally, people who don't care anything about the church, they'll use casual references like, hey, how's the flock? And I hate that. I just really hate it.
I've never had anyone say that, Ben.
Well, they wouldn't say it, but it's happened to, you see it in movies and stuff where people refer to the flock. I hate it. Anyway, just know that if you hear it.
Are you just hating something that Hollywood has created in your life potentially?
Yes.
Something wrong with you.
It made me mad earlier today I don't even know who said it.
How's the
I was
flock?
mad.
I'm really glad that no one has ever asked me that question.
Anyway, while others focus solely on global mission, I don't know that this is a problem.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Like the differentiation between the local and global church?
Where people are going. Now, I could see where the balance of, hey, you're sending all our money to Indonesia, and there's families who need lunch or something. That seems like a good conversation to have.
Right.
I think in the book of Acts, this is weird because it seemed like if your job was to, if you know a thing, let's say that they're giving away free $20 to everybody who shows up to this booth and says, hey, I'm here to claim my $20.
Yeah.
Right. Word tends to spread on the perimeter. So the guys in the middle already know, they tell people on the outside, and as the word spread, just keeps, whoever's on the edge continues to tell more people until hey, there's free $20 over there, you should go get it. And when the time of Acts in the Bible is being written about how Christianity is being spread, this is exactly how it's working, right? They're hey, there's no one on the edge, we should send people to the edge, and then they will tell more people, right? And then, but let's say once the whole world knows, the attack's different. So Acts isn't really speaking to this quite well because it was like a drop in the water, and then the waves kind of went out from there. But once we live in a global society with global communication, now you're well, what is global missions? Used to be we need people on the edge.
Yeah.
We just got to send them to the perimeter because those people know, those people don't. So whoever doesn't, we just need to push out more and tell more people that to know. And so there are parts of the world like the 80-20 window that this is still very much true. Where mission work is still valuable, important, and we need to be doing it, right? But
Hey, welcome back to Live from the Path. Hey, everybody. Sorry, if you were watching on the YouTube, I made a tactical error, and the tactical error was that I reached to go modify a camera. That's the one that's pointing up in the sky right now, and I knocked it over, hit the computer, the audio computer, and broke the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting though is as a solution to this particular issue, we are no longer broadcasting on the YouTube tonight, but it is our Facebook broadcast, which we haven't done in forever.
Oh. Huh.
And so anyway, welcome Facebook to Live from the Path.
Welcome to the over 60 crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, hey there, Facebook.
This is how you reel them back in.
We're excited to see you.
So anyway, I don't know, I think we're done. We were talking about an article where just misunderstandings of what the church is.
just insert generic Live from the Path 10-point article of which we reboot and rebunk 10 things that someone has written.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
colons.
Ben said no less than 3 times unnecessary semicolon.
There were a lot of semicolons in there. It was
At one
completely
point in time, you
unnecessary.
remarked, "What is this guy being paid by the semicolon?"
I did say that, yeah.
which is a very fun thing that I do intend to put on a shirt.
It seemed reasonable. Okay. But that dovetailed into just a question around. I'd read a post by someone today, and it was basically like they were at a church community. They were in a church, and they had some disagreements with the leadership of the church. There was a question around, hey, is this pastor, I don't know, like, do they treat their kids well? Do they talk behind people's back? Are they upset that there's like little kids in the service? Like, all kinds of things where they're like, hey, I'm not sure this is the right, that I trust this leader. Sure. Some of the things came up because of inconsistency in either attending worship or some of the other things that the people were doing at the church. And then there was, I think, a question of, well, what do you do about it? And eventually this person I read it on Facebook today. It was long, and it had pictures of screenshots of text messages and all kinds of things. And I read it, and I thought, like, wow, this doesn't feel right. Like, on multiple levels, this reaction didn't feel right. Either the forum of which we're talking about it, is it clear, like, did they go about the right steps before you just kind of blasted the joint? But it brings up, I think, a couple interesting questions. Like, first is, as we think about, can communities of people act, can you get church hurt? Yeah, I think that's probably true. For sure. What do you do about if you don't feel like the people leading the church, the pastor, whoever, are following Jesus? How do you react to that? How broad do you have those types of conversations? How do you recognize kind of the distinction between disagreements that you have that are for you and disagreements that belong, in some kind of type of wider audience? Sure. And then for people who've had that happen, like, how should you think about that? Because there are times, I think this person had mentioned that in disassociating from that congregation, now they're not going anywhere. And I think we do see that quite a bit, where like people take some place of being harmed or a belief that they were harmed within a community, and it keeps them from joining others. Sure. And so anyway, that's the thing I want to talk about. So maybe let's start with, like, is there a point of which you go, hey, I shouldn't keep going here because of some sort of issue with a leadership or something like that? Like, how do you know when that's true, when that's the case?
Okay, I'm just going to fire this out as the opening gambit, because it's like I had something similar to this recently, where I'm like, something was happening in a church, and I was sitting there and I was angry about it. I didn't like it, and I started praying, and I'm like, God, you have to help me know whether this is your anger or mine. Sure, yeah. Because if it's mine, I need you to help me to see this right. If it's your anger, then you're going to have to help me figure out what to do in response. Either way, it feels like God's church, God's response, right? Very similar to David's approach to Saul, right? Like, you brought him in as king, you take him out. It's not going to be me that oversteps what you've done or what you've allowed or what you have pressed forward as your king. If you want him usurped, you're going to have to do it. And like, so the reason I say that is not because I probably nailed that situation correctly, but like, the first question is God's question. The first question is involving the Lord to deal with his church.
Yes, right.
Yep. Right. And so, like, I think that's a number one. If it's your own personal offense, either God's like, look, you got to toughen it up, right? Like, yeah, people are messed up and broken, and they're not going to nail it 100% of the time. That's why the word grace exists. Yeah. So do you need to bring it up, or do you need to calm down about it? One of those two things can be true. And so, like, the first question is to him. The first question goes to him. You got to help my heart be right so I can help other people. You can't give them something you don't have. And if you don't have a right heart, then you can't go firing in with beans full of nothing.
Yeah. And that goes back to like the article that happened before we kind of cut onto the Facebook, which is like all kinds of things like this. The asking Yahweh is the thing that keeps you from church shopping like a consumerist. Yeah, sure, and right. like thinking that you can bow outside of this situation that he's otherwise created. Like if you're listening to Yahweh and submitting it to him, then it becomes far less about you, and you're just doing his work in whatever circumstance it is, whether it's inside that community or not.
Correct. So, and like, I mean, this is pretty classic, right? Like, not my will, but yours. And our goal is to be unoffendable, because we don't have a kingdom to protect, right? It's his kingdom to protect, and it's ours to worship and be part of. And so, like, if people want to destroy the kingdom of Mike, I go, I don't know, that kingdom wasn't worth nothing anyway. So destroy away, right? But like Yahweh's kingdom, that's his to defend, and he will move troops as necessary, and he will give you words when you need to speak them. And he will give you peace when peace is not able to be found, because you're going to long suffer this thing and do his work there anyway.
Yeah.
And so, like, all those things feel like long conversations that get handed over to him. That's the first one.
Yeah. I feel like there's never been a situation in my life where God hasn't just been like, yeah, you're sticking through it. Like, you're flat out sticking through it. You don't run. You don't run in this. Like, these people need somebody that's there that, like, it can't get sucked in by all the gunk and is willing to just be like, hey, you're going to call some crap out. Like, they're not going to sit there and go, I'm just going to be quiet about this whole situation entirely. But, like, you don't run. You don't get there. Now, that's not what I would prescribe as saying is for everybody, but just like Mike's saying, like, that was prayerful. As a matter of fact, that was fights. Like, that was flat out like, Lord, I don't know. Like, I want to go. Like, I want to be done with this. And I could not shake the feeling that God was going, I do not have you walking from this.
Yeah.
Like, I do not have you run. I know how much you want to walk from this, and I know how much you want to be done with this, but, like, you're here to do what I'm telling you, and I'm telling you this.
So what are the situations in which, and maybe we have to answer first, like, all right, you think you have a problem?
Sure, yeah.
Pastor is not behaving the way that you want. I think the example we gave, we were talking before about the show a little bit, like, I don't know, let's say your pastor just smacks his kids in the face, says it's totally fine. This is the right way to discipline kids, and you're like, I mean, it's not a doctrinal error per se. Not saying that it's okay to smack your kids. I'm just saying, like, it's not like they got up there and, like, taught a bunch of things. They're not teaching people to do it. You just find out that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And so...
lifestyle issues.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle issue related to them. Or you think you could be like they're acting hypocritically and not leading people well in that as an example of their life, not necessarily the words that you're using. Okay, so let's say you find something like that out. The Bible's got, like, I don't know, processes for this. Like, what are they? What do you do first?
Go to them. Personally, one-on-one.
You got to go talk to them.
Yeah, I think that's part of being in a community that we've talked about so far is, like, you got skin in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you absolutely got skin in the game of this person's life more than just being a consumer of their teaching or a consumer of their brand of leadership. Like, you're involved. And part of that means you get in when this kind of stuff happens. So you start by having a conversation.
It takes some wisdom in that, too. I mean,
of course.
Go in a loving spirit, be truthful, be honest, be firm. You don't just go in there and start,
dead
blaring, you're an idiot, you're terrible, you're all right. Put them on the defense right away. Have an adult conversation.
Yeah, this is still a human being you're talking to.
Yeah. Just, hey, man, I got some concerns. Can we talk about it? And
well, I think one of the biggest things to recognize is, like, it is a loving thing that you're doing. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things that I would probably make a mistake on. It is going, there is a correction that needs to happen here, but the correction is out of love. Like, I love you, and I think that this is a problem. And because I love you and want to be, like, in community with you, like, let's seek this. Let's seek God in this. And here's what I think. Let's talk.
Yeah, and that goes back to the conversation we were having last week, which is like, pastors failing blows up churches. Well, those aren't communities. No. Like the example I gave was, like, I could fail in a lot of the ways that, like, these, like, other pastors are failing, and my community not only doesn't blow up, they probably surround me. And like, I don't get to keep teaching there, like, necessarily, but I'm not going anywhere because these people love me. It's not like them versus me, pastor versus congregate. Like, it's not a community of people if it's that way. And so, So first thing, like, and this isn't just even pastoral, it means, like, everybody.
It's grace.
Right. You got to talk to him first.
Yeah, you get to look Christ-like in that scenario to this person who has wronged you or wronged someone else in this community.
Yeah.
I think it's important to not go in emotionally charged. I guess the root of what I was saying before. It's like, I don't know how many times as a child I remember, like, my mom coming out of a grocery store and maybe the clerk was rude and, like, I am never going to that store again.
Sure,
it's like, well, there's one other choice in town. So, 2 weeks later, we're back to Red Owl getting crackers. And so we just have to be careful that we're not just overreacting, which goes back to a calm adult conversation. it could be very accurate. Maybe it is time to go, but go for reasons, not because you're just ticked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's reason to this.
So you're going to go, you're going to talk to him?
Yeah.
And they go, look, I think it's perfectly fine to smack the old kids around. I think you got to discipline. Got to have the discipline. Biblically says, what's the next step?
You go get a couple more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go with witnesses.
Now hold on. The order's important, right? Because what when it says you need to go talk to them personally, that precludes the fact that you did not also talk to 20 other people before you went and talked to them personally.
Sure, that's right.
Right? Like you created some kind of gossip wheel, and you're like, that's strong. I just needed support. That's okay. You can get support from like one person. This is the same way we look at accountability groups, right? Like you need people that you can tell honest, hard things to, and that doesn't mean it's 20 people,
right?
Because now it's just lewd, and it's
fishing.
drawing attention to yourself.
Yeah.
And like you're not trying to burn sin in the streets. You're trying to gain sympathy. And this is not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for resolving an issue. So like when it says you go talk to somebody, that means you and like your friend or your counselor or your spouse or something, like not you and 20 people that you've already told who are with bated breath awaiting to see how your meeting went.
Sure.
That's not healthy, right? So like, yeah, you had that one-on-one or two talking to two other people, whatever. It didn't go very well. And they're not seeing it biblically, and they're not seeing it the way that Jesus says. So you say, okay, let me get two other trusted people who will also act calmly and care more about God's kingdom than their own kingdom, and we're going to try this conversation again.
Because you're still seeking reconciliation through grace.
Yeah,
like that's what you're doing here, and that's why it's so important to like. There's a very real like God pattern here that is established from the, like you get to go have that small conversation because like what a joy it is that you've won back a brother. Yeah. Like what a joy it is that you've won back a brother in reconciliation, that both of you can come to it and go, we want to be Christ-like, and based off of the truth that I know that we're standing on, that is the Word of God, I've won back a brother in this, and now we're in community again, and offense is forgiven, and mercy is abounding.
And maybe I completely misunderstood what was happening.
Right. And then if that's not the situation, again, you're not going to, all right, mob style, let's grab as many people as we can. It's no. In order to, hey, if we can't do this, I'm going to grab a few trusted.
Well, and like part of the value is going to, find some other people to go with you is like once you tell those people the situation, they might go, dude, you're taking it in wrong.
Yeah, totally.
Like you're overreacting, or like, did you deal with whatever, like almost always when I'm faced with some sort of confrontation that someone's talking to me about, and they're probably coming in to try to get me to be the heavy, is to go, look, what part of what they said is true?
Yeah, totally.
Like if I've
a great tactic.
Never been in a situation where someone has a complaint against somebody else where there wasn't, like, if you couldn't tell me at least one thing that they were getting at, like if you were to explain their problem in the best possible light, and if there's anything that they're saying that's true, and if you can't think of any one of those things, you're probably lying to me.
Yeah, you're on a tirade.
Yeah. And so anyway, like, hey, this guy's really making me mad. As a matter of fact, you guys are frustrating. Like, if I go tell you because I'm getting irritated about something, like, I would say 8 out of 10, you guys are like, nah, are you sure you're not taking that in right, dude?
Yeah, right, yep.
And I'm like, dang it, I just want to be mad for a minute.
Yeah, right. There are so many times that like you don't have all the information.
Totally.
Come from the leader point of view, right? But someone comes to the leader like, man, I'm really upset. I saw this happen and that happened and that happened. And like, you don't know the other three things that are happening that we can't say out loud.
Yeah.
Because, it involves maybe a marriage has fallen apart or whatever. Something's
job that
happening.
got lost. Or,
right.
Yeah, we can't tell you what's going on. And we still can't, but just trust us. Sometimes you have to have that conversation, and then they can decide to or not. But so I have been in those situations where people are feeling like, I don't have all the information. Well, that
you do not. This is correct.
Yeah, that's correct. It's for protection of some people.
Yeah. So let's say it's legitimate. They're smacking their kids around, and you try to talk to them, and then you talk to the other people, and everyone tries to go talk. Like three, 4 people try to go talk to this person, and he's like, "Nah, I think it's totally right." In that case, what do?
Community.
Full.
Grab the full community.
Everybody.
Yeah, because at that point in time, like, and this is one of the things that I love about this structure is that you've given every chance. You've given every chance up to this point for that person to be reconciled in quiet, in secret, if you will. Like
with dignity.
Yeah, with dignity. You didn't drag him through the courts. The judge didn't need to get involved and hit down a gavel. You just went, hey, like from reconciling a brother, gaining a brother back, we've done this thing.
Yep.
We tried you and I, didn't work. We tried you and I, a couple friends, witnesses that we can all trust are following Christ, are pursuing godliness and holiness in this, and are pursuing love, abounding through all of it, grace and mercy involved, and it's still nothing. Then that's when community gets involved, because the whole community comes together and goes, this is now becoming a festering piece that's like, it affects us as a community, because it absolutely will.
Just a quick pause, because Ben keeps throwing around the phrase smacking his kids around.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this doesn't apply for criminal offenses.
Oh, yeah.
Just turn them in
Oh,
immediately.
yes, right.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Right, so like just realize that like if you're hearing this on the backside of the conversation, just need you to realize that like if we're talking about like domestic violence or abuse or whatever, like this is not a church discipline problem. Like you broke a law
This is
problem,
criminal.
and it's criminal. Like we're
you guys
calling,
find out somebody like legitimately broke laws here, you get law involved.
You call the police like right now,
and then guess what you do? You go to the prison and meet them.
Yes, and like you can still be friends with them, and like you can still love them through their mistakes that they've made, and God still offers grace. But like at the end of the day, we don't cover up crimes.
No, yeah,
and we don't bury like for the church's like good name. We don't bury bad stuff. Like we turn them in right now.
I've had somebody throw that in my face and go, "Hey man, I told you something in confidence." I'm like, that's not how that works for that kind of thing, friend. Like you broke a law, so I went to law.
I can't remember. There's been like all kinds of people where they came from a rough life. They did some rough things.
Yeah.
Right. And like they wanted to run from the consequences, but they didn't really want to change like their actions. Right. And like my advice has always been, just turn yourself in.
Oh, totally.
Go to the place that you stole from and tell them you did it. Go to the people that you wronged and tell them that you did it. Go to the police department right now and say, I'm guilty of this thing. Like our advice as people who follow God is we live out loud and bright. And so like you don't ever get to hide anything. Your crimes, your secrets, whatever you think people don't know, like it will ultimately, like the Bible says this, like all things come to light. And so like there's nothing that you're going to hide, and anybody who tells you they will hide things on your behalf or give you advice that you should hide things, they're not they don't have God's kingdom in mind. They have their own, and they're trying to protect you and your kingdom. And the thing is, God's asking yours to die.
Yeah.
And so like when we submit to the things that God has, because it's ultimate, that's what freedom looks like and feels like. And so like just to pinch point that real quick.
Sorry, good point.
Sorry, that's my bad. I should have been clear about that. Okay. So I think the roll-up point is that like I mean there's the Bible is like recognizes that these things can happen. You gave the ability to like resolve it on your own without telling everybody in the world. Like you want to sniff test it with someone. Am I thinking about this right? Okay, good. Those are the same people that you're going to bring back and have the same conversation with the brother, whether it's a pastor or otherwise, and you're going to have this conversation. If they refuse, then it's going to become a church like the broad community. Now, this is not like a banner outside thing. Like this is not this 3 churches down the road. Yes, because the point is still reconciliation. So like if you're approaching any of these things like I'm right, they suck, and they need to know it, then like your heart's not right for reconciliation. And you're the one who's actually if you can't look with like even though they're your pastor or your youth leader or whoever it is, like these are still human beings, fallible, who follow Jesus and sometimes get it wrong. And so your job is not to lord over them the desire to say, I want to prove to you that you're wrong. It's to see a brother or sister who's wrong, like who's going through a rough time and like getting it wrong and missing Jesus and this relationship in the process and trying to reconcile that. Right. And like sometimes you get hurt about something and like you actually can't handle it very well. You are not in the space to address these types of things, and like you got to back out of it until you can. Like you don't get to go in and like handle the reconciliation wrong. And like I'm not saying that you can't be legitimately hurt. Of course, like this is people are fully capable of doing this. We do it in our relationships, our marriages. We do it in our like friends. We do it in the churches, right? Because like anytime you give someone the ability to see you more raw, you run the risk that they're not going to handle it well.
Totally.
And like I will present to you that like someone will always let you down in this matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's why like your marriages can be like, so you're like, how could you treat as a spouse? You're like, you treat friends better than you treat your spouse. It's because you opened yourself up further to your spouse, and so they have the ability and the access to harm you and cause damage in your life simply by their own fallibility in ways that they cannot harm other people. And like it's just the risk that comes with intimacy and closeness and stuff, and so it happens in all kinds of relationships, and so you got to figure out how to reconcile and how to work through them. But like so anyway, like, but you have to do it right. There's a way to do it correct, and if you have to step away from a situation because you can't do it right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you
Absolutely.
you do have to make your way back to it. And in protection, like maybe you have to find other ways to handle this. Is why the community and the group is important. But anyway, so there's ways to go do it. Right.
Yeah.
And it's not. So the thing that I read was like a letter to the public, and like reaffirming the thing that we just said, which is like we're not covering things up here. The crimes are crimes or whatever. But like public is almost, unless it's a crime. I just don't understand. It's not a value to the forum. That's more about you.
Right.
Like that's not the local community. That's not like your direct 3 or 4 people who might actually care about this person. Like that's you.
Yeah.
And so I would almost always prescribe that's like, it's one, it's probably out of context. 2, it's not a conversation where everybody gets to like show their sides, and everybody's lying, whether they intend to or not. They're just misrepresenting the situation, colored by whatever their own bias, their own hurt or whatever. And so like, you just can't get a fair shake in a public forum like that. It's not productive to this is not just the church. Like don't adjudicate your marriages or your friendships in the same manner. Don't do it. In fact, I would prescribe the same actual pattern in almost all relationships you have, and almost none of them belong as a public letter in some sort of social media forum.
Yeah. Again, there's a difference between being a whistleblower on like legitimate crime versus like someone has relationally affronted.
Yes.
So
okay. So there's a way to do it, but and there's times when like if this doesn't work, if nothing changes, and like then you go.
Yeah.
Then you go, and like it's sad. It's a sad thing where that has to be the case. But like if you followed all the things and like Yahweh's telling you to go, then you go.
Yeah, because again, if you bring this to the community and like the community unhealthily handles this, that's rough to hold on to.
Yeah.
Like if there's legitimate offense happening and like a whole community of people, and you have gone through the right avenues here to make certain that this is not just an emotional reaction of yours. It is not a situation where you're misrepresenting one part of a hurt, right? Because that can happen. This is not just your heart being broken and you not running through the right forums here to get this taken care of. If you brought this up and like the community then goes, we're not dealing with this at all, and like they take X's side, that makes sense to me to walk away.
Yeah. That
makes sense to me to walk away at that point in time, because then it's an unhealthy situation for you to even be stuck into that. I've yet to ever see that happen though.
Yeah.
I've never seen that followed with that prescription, and it ended up being, that was an unhealthy community that I had to step away from.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's never happened, but I've never seen it like that.
Okay, so let's say maybe you went through the right process, like the things the Bible's asking you to do to check for all these things. Sure. Like it's not a process like God's like, I like to see processes followed. These are right things to make sure you're thinking right, that his church is built up, that his church is reconciled. Like that's why they are what they are.
Because it's a right understanding of your relationship with other people, but then your relationship with other people in light of what you get from your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Like it's the concept of understanding forgiveness because you have been forgiven.
Yeah.
And like God looked at you and went, sin no more. Like, I'm going to take this from you, and I will not like make it so that my wrath isn't existent anymore. I will just put it on someone else, myself, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and actually, I think this is by going through those 3 kind of distinct steps. The other thing that allows you to do is like if you have to walk away from that situation, you can do so where like, you know very clearly, you have a very clear sense that this is a person and community of which is to be mourned over and prayed over, not butthurt about once you're gone.
Yes, right.
Because like if you skip those particular steps and off a particular interaction, or for just talking with the one person and not handling it in the other ways, it's going to be a personal offense. You're going to be angry about it, and you're going to spread that around in the other church relationships or other things that you have because you didn't find a resolution. Yeah. But like, I mean, you guys have probably all had this in situations where like you've got a problem and someone needs help and they've refused your help multiple times in multiple ways. And then I get to walk away not feeling guilty where I go, if only I could have done a little bit more. I had someone try to guilt me over this one time. They're like, hey, if someone were to, it was someone who was like threatening to harm themselves. And they're like, you're going to feel bad if this thing happens. And I said, I'm going to mourn that for sure. If something like, if someone takes an action against themselves, of course I will. But am I going to feel guilt for the rest of my life? In that situation, I was not going to, because like I had taken many, many steps and this person just did not want it. They refused it multiple times. And I said, that would be awful and sad.
Tragedy.
But am I going to wear a weight around my neck for that for the rest of my life? I'm not going to.
Yeah, there's a difference between mourning and then feeling guilty forever.
Yes, and so but it's just an emotion as a tool, and so think about like your anger is the same thing. If you follow the proper things, you can go, I have every confidence that God told me to move on from this situation, and I followed the things that He told me to do to make sure that I wasn't biasing it or that we didn't have an opportunity for reconciliation. And so if I have to leave it, I'm probably mourning that, but I'm not angry. And I don't go, I can't trust anybody ever again, because I recognize that the problem actually wasn't me.
Right.
There was a community of people and there's something fundamentally broken there. And what do I see when I see that like wrongness has taken over a body of people who claim to follow Jesus? Then I fight that in prayer, and I fight that in like trying to be part of like fixing that or like praying against it if I'm away from the situation. But what I don't do is then take whatever anger that never got resolved or disassociated from me and like I just spit it out on every relationship that I have, or go, I can't interact with the church again. Well, why not? What does it have? Like, you found a very clear false teaching or false leadership or whatever. Like, what does that have to do with every other church situation going on in the world?
Right.
It's you, but like you had time to segment it out because you followed it. If you don't do that, it ends up being the whole thing is screwed up, and you have no evidence to that.
I distrust the entire institution now.
Yes, that's right. And so I think that is one of the risks. And we do, like, I think find that a lot. People who have, like, I've been to churches and the church hurt me and now I don't go to church anymore, like, holistically. Like, here's the deal. Manipulative communities are awful. They're most pernicious.
And they absolutely exist.
Because it ends up bullying you, because then it's not just like you and a conflict personality with some leader or somebody somewhere. It's like you and then the whole community. If it's like a false teaching or a false like bullying community like that, it can be like 50 against 1. So, like, you get ostracized, and like I totally get why this happens. But again, you follow the steps so that you get to go, look, I know the odds are not are against me here, but like all 75 of you are wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
right,
and I followed this thing to try to make sure that was the case. But like, to Buva's point, I'm not actually seeing that. Like maybe once, where like you had
it
whole groups of people,
and has happened, but I certainly have not seen that as par for the course ever.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is like this is a personal pursuit of holiness thing.
Yeah,
where like you might be the guy that calls 75 people wrong,
totally,
and you might be right.
Yep,
right, but like it has to be him. It has to be his. It has to be his offense, his hurt, and his justice. That like Jesus did this. Jesus walked up to 75 Pharisees and said,
right,
all of you are wrong.
And what a pride to be able to walk up to that and go, I know full well I followed the right paths and I pursued love in every single one of these things. I pursued reconciliation, I pursued mercy, grace, and love in this, and I walked with integrity and with my God. And like, my safety wasn't in, oh, these people didn't hurt me. My safety was in, oh, He had me the whole time.
Yeah, it really is a conversation of humility and strength, and both of those get served right out of the Father's hands.
And what a way to look like Jesus.
Seriously.
Like that you get to be that.
Yeah.
Like, what a calling that you get to be that to a group of people and show them what actual love looks like. Because here's the deal. You may be ostracized by that community, but there's got to be something that community looks at and goes, hey, remember that situation? Like, we screwed that up, and now that person has shown us Christ.
I will say, like, the easiest way for like people who are actively like, trying to follow Jesus is when someone shows up acting like Jesus when you're wrong, you feel it.
Oh boy.
Right. They're like, hey, they're intending to manipulate you. They're intending to like cover up the fallibilities of their own by otherwise making it look like it's you. But when you handle it like Jesus did, which goes like, He provides almost no defense across the board against the accusations that are levied against Him. He just points people back to like, this is what God has me doing. Like, and like, whatever you're doing, I'm agreeing agreeing to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm allowing this trouble to come my way because to otherwise reveal the things that you're doing that are wrong. And like people acting like Jesus, especially in false situations, end up calling other people to account. And so,
That's powerful.
I know, listen to me, I know that this is super hard because like what it feels like is to say like, I'm being done wrong and you're asking me to like, I don't get to kind of like grouse about it. I don't get to proclaim the need for justice. If I have to do the thing, like, here's the thing. This is where the stuff that Jesus calls you to like comes to fruition. Jesus is like 70 times 7 and you're like, I can't get past 1.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And like, so I'm not saying it's not hard, but like this is going to be this is going to feel like a really bad example, but it's the phrase that just sticks with me. Is it like, maybe we've talked about this. You've still not seen It's a Wonderful Life?
No.
Okay. Oh no, it's not It's a Wonderful Life. It's a different movie. It's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Have you seen that?
No idea.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay. Anyway, he goes.
You don't have to say this only to me. We have many other listeners.
I'm disappointed in all of you. So Jimmy Stewart's in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and he's like some senator dies. He gets appointed, and he's like a rube. He's like a Mr. Idealistic about America.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he shows up, and like they meant to just like appointed him so that he'd stay out of the way because there was some other like a senator and like this kind of corporate machine who's doing some land graft, and they're like,
sure.
This wide-eyed dude is never going to know, and so stick him doing other things. Okay. And so anyway, through various events, he kind of catches on to this scheme, and of course he's going to have none of it.
Yeah.
Because he's wide-eyed Mr. America, and so now this corporate machine and the senator are having to fight back on him, and so the senator who's in the pocket of the corporate machine goes like trying to convince him like, I don't know, maybe we should just kind of give this up. And the corporate machine dude, the guy who's like running this big political mechanism, he goes, this is the works, Joe. That's the name of the senator. He's like, either we're out of business or we're bigger than ever. Like, and the reason this sticks with me, even though it's totally wrong because it's for like a land graft, is like, this is where the rubber meets the road here. Like either everything we believed is completely bogus and we got to get out of it, or this is where we are fully what we're ever called to be, right? And so the land grafter got it right. Is he looks at the people where forgiveness is actually owed, and it's the hardest freaking thing in the world, and it goes, look, if the things that Jesus prescribes don't work here, they don't work anywhere. If we're not supposed to be forgiveness in the face of fallible church leaders and fallible church communities, and like this is the time where you go, I still forgive that and I'm still after reconciliation. Like if it's not then it's nowhere.
Right.
This is the works, Joe. Either we're bigger than before or we're out of business.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I would call out here in this piece is you insert random person here that's running into this. You are incapable of this on your own. Like you are incapable of this unless you are walking with Christ.
Yeah.
Like you are, let me embolden you, brother or sister in Christ, that if you are walking humbly with the Spirit, that makes things like this possible. Mm-hmm. The kind of things that Jesus calls us to throughout his ministry, his life, the kinds of things that God calls us to as acting like him and being his image bearers in this world, you cannot do unless you are walking with him. But if you are walking with him, you are capable of this.
Yeah.
You are capable of this kind of thing, that kind of forgiveness that makes no sense but makes Jesus shine. That kind of thing you are capable of if you're walking with Christ. Like, this is a hard thing. We will never deny that fact. But like, you're not being called to something that God isn't willing to just sit there with you in it. And like, it's all glory to him. It's not glory to you. Let your kingdom die. Walk in his, and this kind of stuff just shines. And it's beautiful because this is the kind of thing that you go, how do I tell people about Jesus? You act like this.
Yeah. So to sum it up, and this goes a little bit to the article we were talking about before, is like, one, it's fallible people will, whether they're church leaders or people in churches or you, will have these types of situations come up. There is a biblical way to go about it, and it's not just for, hey, like if you think about the progressive groups of people getting bigger, that is also for your refinement as the person who's accusing of things going on. It's to make sure that like discerning people help make sure the right conversations are going on. Is there a point of which like someone is refusing to repent and like they're misleading you, misleading the church, and like, or the community is kind of poisonous? Yeah, it can happen. I would say that's why you're triple checking it, because a lot of people come to that conclusion because they didn't like the behavior of a person at some point, and they didn't like the initial reaction that they got when they tried to gossip about it to somebody else. I'm not saying that's you if it happened. I'm just saying like I've seen that a lot.
Totally.
And your ability to discern that when you're hurt is very, very hard.
Yep.
And so you got to trust people around you to kind of help you walk through that. There's a reason God puts the layers in it that he does. As we go back to the article, is it okay for you to completely bail from God's community because you've been hurt by one? No, that's not okay.
No, that's the time when you need more of God's community.
Yep. That's a successful separation. Bad things happen in isolation. Things jack with your mind. They allow you to believe and reinforce things that you thought were true in a rough situation, and they become more true in your mind because there's nothing to push back and force you to reconcile with it. It's the same thing you have with political parties. You can be like, oh, that entire political party just sucks. Everything they believe is terrible and they're heartless, right? And then you got to go. But if you had dinner with folks from another side twice a week, you would go, that's not right. Now I have a much more complicated situation to deal with, and that's always been true. Your ability to bucket those things off, and so it's not okay to stay off it. And so, does it mean that sometimes you have to try other church communities? Yeah. Is it a risk? Of course. Intimate relationships with people is a risk. Marriages, friendships, churches, for sure. But like, it's also not all about you. Sometimes you're there to serve. And some of your service is being able to reflect some of the situation that you've gone on. Is stuff going to go your way? No, you need to have some humility that like, it's not a church made in your image. And so you got to be willing to submit to that.
Yep. Your
fallibilities are also on display. And your church is going to have, like the people you're surrounding yourself with are going to have to deal with that too. And so, I think it's if you're a person on the sidelines from the kingdom where you're like, I can follow God, but I don't have to be a part of this. I'm just telling you that like this is your call to like, no, that's not going to be right. And maybe you didn't handle the situation you left. You need to go reconcile that. Mm-hmm. It's for you too, even if they reject it or whatever. But like in humility, you go, I didn't handle this the best, but I was hurt, and here's the reasons I was hurt. And then so you see what reaction you get. But it's not on. Do not wait or expect for all these other fallible human beings to be the reason you are encouraged. It may not be. Your attempt to reconcile may fail. But it's not a fail because you did the thing Jesus asked you to do. You forgave, you attempted in humility to kind of set things right. And if people don't want it, they don't want it. But like, God is your backer here. Jesus is the one that's with you. He's the one who called you to do a thing. Like, it's not actually where you're like, the church hurt me. He's the one who said to forgive. Mm-hmm. Your problem is with Jesus. And like, we like oftentimes people who are critical, like I got hurt by the church. Like Jesus is the one who's directing your reaction to it. And so anyway, I know it's hard. I know you might be hurt. Don't be surprised that frail humans make bad decisions. Sometimes communities can be poisonous. Oftentimes it's actually, I would make sure it's not you. Follow the steps, the process that he outlines, because it's for refinement. And if it doesn't work out, like, you got to find somewhere else. You got to find another group of people who can help you heal from the thing, who get to have you contribute to, but you also get to be shaped and molded by. And so like, sidelines is not a good option for you. It's harmful for the kingdom, and it's harmful for you personally. So that's our encouragement. All right, Mike. Mike's got some advice.
It's kind of advice. It's a story time a little bit.
Tell a story.
So a couple weeks back, I think, I was getting prepared for youth group season, and so I was praying, and I was reading Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire again, because I just love this book. And I start thinking, and I start getting kind of jazzed up. And I'm like, I'm going to get these kids. I got some kids in mind that I'm going to get together, and we're going to start praying for the youth group and for school specifically. And we're going to do it like we believe that the Holy Spirit does things. We're not going to do it just because we have to. We're going to do this thing. And I was getting really, really excited. And then one of the kids that I was really close to died in a car accident. And like, I'd gone from like, I'm like, we're on the offensive. Like, I was pumped. And then I get this news, right? And like, I was pretty close to this kid, and we had some really good conversations about Jesus. And like, it just took out every wind I had in my sail, like, completely. And so we do the things, and I talk to the family, I talk to a bunch of kids, I pray through it, and we do the funeral and all the things, and I'm like, okay. And then like, it was busy and there was a bunch of things going on, and so I wasn't praying any more than what I needed. Right? It wasn't deep. It was, this is all I got kind of prayers.
Yeah.
And I certainly was not reading my Bible. And then 2-3 days later, still. And then 2 or 3 days later after that, still. And I'm like, what's going on with me? And I thought, I don't want to talk to you right now. And that's what I'm doing. I thought, this kind of sucks. I know this to be the exact opposite of what I should be doing from both personal experience and years of reading the Bible and talking to other people about it. I know this is exactly the opposite thing that I should be doing. But I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to. And like, all I can imagine is reading his word and having it come through flat and unable to address the things that I'm feeling and the gas that just got let out of my balloon and the effects that it had on this thing had on everybody around me and my community and me. And so like 2 weeks go by, same story every day. And I'm like giving out advice that I'm not taking. I'm like, I know the things that would help address the way that I'm feeling and a distance from God that I'm feeling, and not really in anger. I'm not mad at God about this thing. I'm hurt and I'm sad, and I can't seem to replace the wind that I had in my sails prior to the funeral. But I'm also not seeking like the God that does that. And I know all these things. And then so today, I'm like, this has to change. Something new has to happen. And so I get up and I read my Lectio devotional, which I've not done in a couple of weeks. And I looked at my wife and I said, woman, I got to get my Bible. I said, what should I read? I'm dealer's choice here. I need something. And I'm not picking it on my own. She's like, you should read the book of Jonah. And so I do. I pull up the book of Jonah, and then here's what happens. I get three verses in. And it says, I'm going to read all 3 verses so you can feel it the way I felt it.
Yeah.
Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of whatever his dad's name is, saying, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me. Verse 3, but Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. And I'm like, what kind of idiot believes that he can flee from the... Dang it. Dang it. And so I thought about this for a minute, and then it's the problem with being on this show and from teaching the word for a while is I'm like, you're personalizing a story that's not about you, right? But like, I'm reading this going, what kind of idiot believes that he can outrun the presence of the Lord by boat or by ignoring prayer time or by trying to hide things from God as if he is unaware of what's happening, or staying out of his word to not be refreshed, renewed, and reminded of good, true things, even in hard things. And I thought, okay, you're making this about you. Let's read on. Wait, it continues. This is the worst. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. Still a plan. So he paid the fare, went down into it to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. And I thought, okay, so here's the thing. I can't tell whether this is advice or this is just a story that just occurred to me today while I was reading. But like, I didn't choose to read the book of Jonah. I was going to read Matthew 5. I'm like, you can't go wrong with the words of Jesus. Come on. I'm going to Matthew 5. This is solid. Woman's like, you go and read the book of Jonah. And like, I get 6 verses in, and I'm out of my own head for a minute, thinking how dumb a man can be to try to hide from the presence of the Lord, realizing the said man is me. And I'm like, ugh, this is gross. And then the Lord ends up talking, like Jonah goes and he hides and whatever. And, you know, all the people are like, what were you thinking? Why are you trying to hide? Now the Lord's after everybody. Whatever. They chuck him from the boat. He gets eaten by the fish. They vomit him up. Long story short, Jonah ends up mad that he's actually doing the thing that God asked him to do. And the Lord goes, paraphrase, how's being angry going for you? And Jonah's like, I like it.
Feels good.
I like being angry. And then like, I'm just slowly replacing like Jonah's, the words that God is saying to Jonah is like, how is being separated from me going? I'm like, not great. I have more humility than Jonah in this moment where I'm like, yeah, I know that wasn't going well. This is better. This feels better. I don't know if it feels like more of a revealing and more of a, hey, you look, you're done. You did the thing. You felt like it was going. This was an honest and a fair reaction to the stuff. But like, how's that going for you? Tarshish was never going to do this.
Yeah.
Trying to run out of my presence was never going to do this, right? And so, anyway, I don't know like what level that you're currently participating in this foolish thought of where you're like going to outrun the presence of God, and if that means that you have a perpetual sin that you think this will continue to sustain, or you have some church hurt in your background that you're like, if I just avoid the church, then the presence of God will not be a problem. Or if I stay out of these communities, if I stay away from Jesus people and I hang around people who don't love Jesus, then the presence of God will not follow me. And like, maybe my advice to you is like, none of those things are true. That's a foolish thought. If there is a God in the world, you will not outrun him. You will not be able to hide from him. You can certainly ignore him. That is an option, and you will feel that. But overall, the thought that you can outrun, hide from, pay money to, or duck the presence of God on your own human means, it's a foolish endeavor. And a God that would maybe remind me of such a thing was such a foolhardy story, as I arrogantly said, what kind of fool would think he would get away with something like this? And then I go, I know a guy that fits that description, and then remember that it's me. And so anyway, I don't know if there's a ton of advice in there, but like more of just like a story, like if that sounds familiar to you in a way, or you've done a thing, or maybe you're hurting in a way and you're like, I'm not really sure how God can speak into this. And the truth is like, if you don't want to hear him, you won't. And if you don't give him the opportunity to speak into it, then yeah, you will be continually disappointed in the words that you refuse to hear. And so maybe that's the advice, is like, if you think that like you've run across a thing, or you're feeling in such a way, that God doesn't have space or ability, or is not uniquely and intimately tuned in to the things that you're currently going through, I'll just submit that you're mistaken in that. And so like, it's not too late to just say, yes, Lord, I'm going to try. I'm going to listen to this now. Let me see what that feels like. So maybe that's my advice, is if you're sitting in a space similar to that, and like I tell you that story, kind of to my own shame, to be honest with you, I should know freaking better by now. But like that goes back to the broken humanity thing, and the messed up humanity thing is like, even I would hate to color my relationship with God from the worst days that I've had. And the Father doesn't look at it that way either, right? Like he looks at me through redemptive blood of Jesus, and he looks at you the same way if that's the way that you've chosen to live and accept. And so just know that like ups and downs and whatever's like, God's not going to look at your foolishness and go, I'm done with that, man. So let's try to rehab that conversation and maybe try to reconnect with him in that kind of way. And don't read the book of Jonah. There's nothing in there for you.
I think I have not met somebody who, they didn't used to call it deconstruction. They just called it walked away from Jesus or something. But like, who didn't have some evidence in their life that they were still looking for something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so like, Jonah's not an idiot. He's just physically has nothing else to do. Like there's no other option. He's like, it's kind of like that situation with Jacob and the sticks, where you're like you just do something physically that represents whatever's going on in your body. You don't even know what else to do.
Right.
And so you're like, I'm just going to run, or I'm just going to like not read my Bible, because like I don't have any other way to express that, like I don't feel like doing a thing, you know. But like they were either, like most people that I've known and talked to that have walked away from Jesus are like either still they're trying to find some other spiritual thing to fill the void that's there, or they're like angry. They're like really mad, and they're like very anti-Jesus. because it's the running to Tarshish. Like you don't have any. There's very few people who are like actually agnostic, where like it just doesn't. It's not after them in some way or another, because it was real, and like a real thing that you just closed your eyes to didn't make it less real, and so it has an impact on your life. You can proclaim that the wind's not there, but then you got to explain why your coat's moving in the breeze, and so. But it's interesting though, because like as you were talking, I thought like it's like how in some ways freeing is it to just stop and go, God, what are we going to do? Like, not like, what am I going to do? Or how am I going to handle this? Or what thing? But it just goes like, if I just stopped for a minute, stopped running and stopped fighting and stopped like trying to negotiate what it looks like to just stop and go, what if Lord, what if I just start with, what are we going to do? Like Jonah could have. Yeah. Jonah in the moment could have just gone, like God tells him to do a thing and he stops and like, God, I'm not going to take a step, but I am going to stay right here and go, what are we going to do? Because I don't want to do this. It's a way different proposition than I'm going to run to Tarshish.
And like what feels like, there's a song called Watchman by Josh Garrels. And this thing, I cried to it on the way here. Cards on the Table. It's a freaking song.
I heard it today too.
But here's the thing, is like, the chorus is super simple, right? And it's just a recall of Peter, like saying like the chorus just goes, you're all I have. Lord, you are the way. and I will love you and I will stay like a watchman at the gate waiting for morning to break, right? Is like, even through like a hard thing, and like this has been true historically in my life too, right? But this one is just the most recent example, is like, even if I decided all this is heavy and hard, I don't know. All I have left is to go. God, I don't know where else to go.
Yeah, right.
It's just you and me here, right? And like, I do still love you, and I do still trust you, and you're all I got, because I don't have a plan. I don't have a good reaction to this.
There's no.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So like, there's not another option, because I can cut God out right now and go find all the hope that he offers from the creator of the universe, the only one who would have the power and the mighty right hand to do any of the things that my heart wants to have done or wants to see a change in the world, right? Like, there's no one else on offer that's offering that. Nobody. Yeah. So even if I thought that God was not particularly interacting in a situation, it's not like I can replace him with an 800 number or a couple of dudes, you know what I'm saying? Or like some really well-meaning folks. They can't do any of that.
No.
They don't even claim to be able to do any of that. And so like, my hope is solely in him. And like, none of that has changed, right? But like it's just a reminder that like, when you strip all this stuff away, and even when like it feels like I'm going to try to run away from the presence of God, because like, frankly, I don't even know if I want to hear what he's saying right now. Yep. That's not the conversation I want to have, you know? But like, at the end of the day, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And like, Jonah thought his nowhere else to go was Tarshish. Like the Lord gets to Tarshish and go, drats.
I'm going to get far away enough from Yahweh that I don't hear him anymore.
Again. It's too bad I'm not allowed in Tarshish, you know? And so like, anyway, it's a really simple, like, I suppose, reminder that like, we read some of these stories in the Bible and look at how foolish people are, and like, it's an echo of you in some manner or another. In just about every fool you meet in the Bible has like an uncle named Mike, or there's someone in his family that had like acts this way. We do this with Israel all the time. You're like, you just saw a pillar of fire, and literally 40 days later you're like, I would love to go back to be a slave. This desert is very uncomfortable.
At least we had food.
At least these sandals don't wear out, but seriously, this is bothering me. You know what I'm saying? And so you're like, how could people act this way? And then like, you look back at your life and go, God did a major thing, and then it wore off. And then I forgot that maybe my obedience wasn't really that important, or personal holiness was not that big of a deal. And maybe I'll let these things slip, and I'll stop meeting with these people, and I'll stop staying away from those movies, or I'll get back with this group of friends. And you're like, what the heck? How did I get here? You know how you got there. Yeah. Just the same way Israel got there.
There's something awesome about the concept of like, if you're in like the geographical area of Israel, right? And at any point in time that you're trying to physically flee away from God, you are actually passing physical markers and locations that are like, oh, I know why that's called that place.
Yeah.
Like I know that place is called that because at one point in time there was a couple rocks that were put right there.
There was a staircase here that ran the angels.
There was a pillar that was there that like my ancestor Jacob said, because of this pillar, like God's faithful. And like it really, like, and Ben, you said it this way before, like we have such short memories. Like we have such short memories that like if we were in geographical location, we walk past Bethel, we go, oh yeah, that's literally named that because that's the house of God.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm physically walking past a reminder that goes, oh, do you remember when God was faithful in that thing? Because this town is here because of that. Do you remember why we've got this city on 7 hills? It's because like God was faithful thousands of years before I saw a building there. And it's just interesting to me that like a thing like this, and you said it's as well, is like it's a reminder of it's really hard to walk away from hope incarnate and expect to find anything hopeful.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's really hard to walk away from love and expect to find anything loving. But like we do it, and it's just so awesome that God just goes, I'm still here.
Yeah,
like I'm still here. Like yes, I'm here in all of this, and I recognize why your heart's this way. And I recognize why you're angry or why you're sad or why you're hurt. I made your heart to feel this. You were supposed to feel this hurt because it was never supposed to be like this. But like long for a day when I make all this new. That's exactly what you should be doing. But like in the meantime, I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Yeah, and
you
like,
could have gone to Tarshish.
And look at the way that God responds to even Jonah, right? Like, it's not like God's like, I'm done with you. You ran to a boat. You idiot. I picked the wrong guy. Look at this moron. There he is. And you're like, I'll send a fish to come get you, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's grace after grace after grace. And Jonah, like the book ends with Jonah's heart still hardened.
Rough.
Right? It is not like a bow tie at the end of the story where you're like, Jonah's finally came to realize.
But it's not.
But yeah. Well, I mean, as far as the biblical account, I don't know what happened with Jonah the rest of his days, right? But like, as far as the biblical account of the prophet Jonah, right? Like, he's still sitting arms folded, pissed because he gave the word of the Lord poorly, I might add, to the town of Nineveh.
Goes, watch what I'll do.
Like, he walks in, and like, I actually showed this part to my wife, and I'm like, we've been doing this all wrong, woman. Like, you just walk in and go, judgment is at hand. And then you cut a trail.
He didn't even, listen to me, he did not even go to the king.
No.
He goes like halfway in, doesn't even go all the way to the king.
Barely into town.
Doesn't say which God it is. He doesn't say it's Yahweh or anything. He just kind of walks in.
Yeah.
And like barely floats it around.
And the next,
that God is so good that even the friggin' cattle are like, we got to change.
Yeah, the whole town's like, oh man, maybe we can relent his hand. We should mourn.
Get some ashes on that bull, friend. We're not showing enough that we're mourning.
Yeah, did you just bathe? Unbathe. Put them shrouds on. It's bad days.
Yeah, think of that, Mike. Like, you spend so much time in like these various, families and people and communities, like trying to love and show care and whatever. Jonah ain't snuggling no cattle.
No.
He just walks in and goes, look, I mean, this is the deal.
Yeah, half-heartedly. Yep, this is it. Judgment. Bye.
Bye. I'm gonna go sit in the sun.
I'm gonna go sit in the sun and be angry at a tree.
That's true. He didn't even say what to do. Like, they came to sackcloth as their own conclusion.
Yes. Yeah. Their reaction was, oh shoot, we got to mourn this because there's something wrong.
I think for me, the fascinating part of that whole story is who these people were, the Ninevites. I mean, they were known to drink their wine out of the skulls of Jewish people they had slain. So Jonah was not too excited about bringing repentance.
Right, yeah.
He's like, repent. Yeah.
But then still,
God's going to take you all down.
I'm gonna
Can't wait.
Yeah. All right. See you.
I tell you what, like it just makes me, sometimes I've read Jonah before, right? And I'm like, I'm putting in way too much work and thought into my presentation of the gospel to other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, and the Bible bears this out, if God goes with you, I mean, you could walk in there and go, poop hillbillies, and people are like, I gotta repent.
Right.
I gotta turn my ways. You know what I'm saying? And like, so like, which goes back to the prayer thing, and it goes back to like trusting God to do the things that God is going to do, and like, and being faithful in the thing that He has guided you to do. So like, what you think is the big presentation of the gospel is this big, well-rehearsed sermon, and like, having influence over other people in this way, and like all these things. And I'm not saying they're bad, and I'm not saying that God doesn't have you doing some of these things, but at the end of the day, God changes hearts. The Holy Spirit shows up and gives people ears to hear. And you can bark all you want, but without ears to hear, you're talking to the deaf, dumb, and blind, and it does you no good. And so like you talk about the big things that get most of those churches, those top 10 things that like people misconception of the churches, it's when people do that. Right, is when they're like, I have a plan, and like, here's what we're going to do, and we did some metrics testing, and we're going to do this, and like, I hear you, like some of these are just regular, this is how we do things,
sure, right.
kind of things. But at the end of the day, God brings people in, God opens ears, God changes hearts, the Holy Spirit does the work, and sometimes you will be lucky enough to be used as an instrument of which God got to do that. Most of the time, you just get to be a spectator on how great God is and go, dang, I was glad I got to see that. That's super cool. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And like, and it's almost easier if you're not involved, because then you have to fight your kingdom too, right? Okay. When God shows up and goes, I think you guys should repent. And everyone's like, oh man, we should change our whole lives. Unbelievable. We were so dumb in the past. Where can we sacrifice to Yahweh?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you get to go, holy cow, look at this amazing thing that God did, you know?
Yeah. God opened ears and hearts and everything changed.
Exactly.
Yep. Hey, you're listening to Live from the Path. Hey, maybe you got feedback on the show. Hit us up on the Live from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085. Call or text. We'd love to hear from you. It's 515-517-0085, the Live from the Path complaint line. Primarily designed for complaints because that seems most likely. But if you have nice things to say, you're free to use the complaint line. You can call and leave a voicemail if you want to. I'll promise not to answer. But like it keeps showing up like it's a legit phone call.
Yeah.
Like it used to be that it was very clear that this was a call to the complaint line, but now it like pops in like it's someone calling me, and I've mistakenly answered it before. I'll do my very best not to do that though. Just a heads up. All right. Staying on the advice train, we got any dear Live from the Path?
Dear Live from the Path, my husband is going to be 70 next month. He is in good physical shape, but has taken up smoking marijuana every day. He says he is addicted. I have told him how much I hate that he uses dope. He quits for a while and then goes back to it. We have been married almost 50 years.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed filing for divorce, but I am starting to think it's my only way out of a situation that has become increasingly frustrating. His doctor has told him it probably won't kill him. Seriously? What's your advice?
Is that the only grounds for divorce? Is that the guy's smoking marijuana?
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. Like, it seems odd that, like, do you not like it that he's doing a substance? Did you watch Reefer Madness in the 50s when you were born? Like, and then that's your whole thought process of it? Or, like, is it illegal and you don't like that he's doing something illegal? Because that's a fair conversation to have. But, like, it just seems odd to just be like, I'm against the marijuana cigarettes and I don't like this at all. And I'm going to divorce my husband because I hate this.
After 50 years?
That's wild to me. 50 years of marriage and then a 70-year-old man who's been smoking weed. You're out.
Dan.
He must be smoking in the house and it's driving her insane.
You think it's something like that?
It's stinky.
So if she just built him a smoke den?
Maybe so. Like, go outside of the shed. Go out to your marijuana
shed into an opium den, you old, like, you crazy reefer man.
Dan, if your wife just started took up marijuana and refused to give it up,
quit for a while.
There's so many conversations to have. I would take 2 witnesses. No, I mean,
yeah. In that point in time, the witness is the neighbor down the street that smelled the skunk.
Is he like in a lot of pain, and this is helping the pain?
That's what I thought too.
Does he have glaucoma? I don't know what the medical reasons people take that stuff. A divorce just seems pretty extreme. Yeah. I mean, maybe like, hey, I'm going to start sleeping downstairs away from you or something, but I don't know.
And I hate to make it this, but like, he's not doing meth.
Yeah.
Like, you're not walking in and he's bumping lines of devil's dandruff. Yeah. Like, legitimately, like, this is just, hey, yeah, he tokes up nowadays. I don't like this at all.
I'm 70. I'm smoking the sweet green.
Yeah. I remember seeing Jerry Garcia do this in 75, and I was always interested.
He's not messing around.
What if he
don't meth with him?
What if he what if he took up to like an unhealthy ring ding habit or something? Like, would it be looking the same way? Like, he's like, I put down 20 ring dings a day. He's constant. There's rappers everywhere. Like, he's basically,
Gerald's got the munchies and I'm tired of it.
He's just sitting there like eating ring dings all the time.
Hey, she did start out by saying he's very physically fit.
So, okay. So now here's what might be difficult for her. Is like if suddenly he's behaving what feels like out of character.
Yeah.
Right? So to be 50 years in and then all of a sudden he's he's not addicted to marijuana. He likes it, and he may even like it because it irritates you. I don't know, but like, if you're like, hey, I thought I knew someone, like, and it feels foreign because they're behaving in a way you didn't expect.
Yeah.
I could see how that could be jarring. Mike, to your point, if it's like ring-dings and marijuana, same problem though. You're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then now
Been
you
there
don't
for
know what
50
your
years.
relationship is.
Yeah.
And so that I could get that.
Okay.
That makes sense to me.
That does make sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's jarring. But
Yeah.
this seems odd to be like no other context. Gerald picked up the weed, won't put it back down. I'm out.
But to that extent, like, I would just, like, you've long suffered through 50 years. Let this thing play out.
Yeah.
Now, but to Dan's earlier point, it's okay to have natural consequences. The natural consequences of you got the old left-handed stink to you is that I ain't sleeping in the same bed with you.
Right.
You can forget it. You know.
Yeah, you want to act like a college kid, go couch surf.
That's right. And you got to do it outside. I don't care if it's 8 degrees outside. And so, like, there's an impact to just natural consequences of you smoking the left-handy, and go ahead and enforce them. But otherwise, just play it out. He's gonna finish it off in like 6 months.
I can't stop making this into a cartoon in my head where, like, Gerald recently started wearing tie-dye more often, and, like, he smells a lot more like patchouli oil, and I don't like that about him. And he's been listening to the Grateful Dead and, like, Jethro Tull a whole bunch, and I just don't like what he's turned into.
Yeah.
I wish that it was that, but it really is just he's been token. And I
Yeah,
don't
he's
like
acting
that.
like a rebellious teenager at
Yeah.
70.
That's what I'm wondering is if he's like, I don't care anymore. I'm on the downward slope. Why do I care?
It's not like he's running around town causing trouble. I can't imagine. I mean, he's just sitting around the house with a bad habit.
If I'm thinking of the timeline right here, though, like, there's a good chance that marijuana, very specifically culturally, is like one of the worst possible things you can do. This person is 70 years old. That's about the right timeline of, like, this is like public enemy number one is marijuana because it leads to all the other things.
Right.
Legitimately, I made the joke about reefer madness, but very possibly reefer madness, and it's something that she's held.
It's a moral
since-
issue.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. And she's held this since she was like 12 when this was shoved down her throat by her parents and society. I can understand if maybe he stopped caring that much about that, but she's very much still conservative in that piece. And that shift, like you were saying, is jarring, and it's hard to reconcile.
But don't fight it. Here's what
But that's a conversation to have. At most, go to therapy and talk about, because it's probably not your only issue.
I wouldn't fight it. I would embrace it. If it's like an end life crisis, right? He's just like trying something out. He's rebelling against his age or something like that. If he's otherwise not harming anybody, it's just irritating to you because he's behaving out of character. Like, you can fight him on it, and if that's the motivation, it's going to get worse. Or you just like, I mean, you can either directly support it, be like, wake him up in the morning, said, roll or bowl today, boys. Like, you can offer him. Or just like let it play itself out. Give it like 6 months, and like it'll be fine, and it'll normalize.
As someone who has taught me about Jesus for a big chunk of my life, to hear you go, morning, roll or bowl, boys. I was never prepared for that. I didn't know how to take it, and I'm still kind of sitting in that. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
I'm assuming he's in a place where it is legal to smoke, because I don't see a 70-year-old guy running, out to the locker room to try to buy something from
Right.
the local.
I'm just
high school
imagining
student.
how do you start that drug dealer conversation when
Hey,
you're a
sir.
70-year-old man?
Yeah.
Oh, son.
I see you have some baggies.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have some marijuana in that?
I noticed that you were eating a lot of ring-dings. Do you by chance have a hookup on the ganja?
Yeah. Hit the bricks, old man. You're scaring away our clientele. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've toked before.
So, if it's not a legal issue, and we're just guessing, that it's a moral issue, then I understand that. But
always
that'd be
wanted
like
to
if
be
he
a
was
legal
suddenly having sex with all the neighbors, that would be like, okay, now you're talking
Yeah,
divorce.
Different problem. Yep.
Right.
Or there's
She's
like-
probably saying it's the same.
yeah.
I've never smoked this stuff in my life, so I'm not like, it's a foreign world for me too. If Cheryl started smoking marijuana, though, I'd probably be like, okay, that's gross.
Weird choice.
Stop, but
it'd be different if you walked in and she was booting black tar heroin.
yeah.
Hopefully it'd be different. That feels weird that you had to pause there. But I'm
I
just
had
saying,
no idea
you
that
walk
is.
in and she-
I was trying to figure out what that was.
I was saying she was doing heroin. You walk in and she's got a needle in her arm and a rubber band hose around her.
Oh, okay,
That'd be a little bit different than if she smelled a little rough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Would you, like, culturally, like, I think some of this is just an inbound culturally problem, right? Like, let's say that like 70 years gone by, dude ain't never smoked a day in his life.
Right.
And now he's buying Pall Malls 2-pack a day. And
I got
chiefing
questions.
them, right? It's the same question.
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on with this change in the way that
Or pain pills.
Or pain
Yes,
pills,
right.
All of a sudden, you got addicted, had a surgery, and now you're addicted. I wouldn't be like, oh, you're out.
Happens fairly often, and that's the
Yeah,
time to
yeah.
double down and be like, I love you. What do we need? What's going on here?
Let's get some, how can I help you?
totally.
What are we lacking? Yeah.
Yeah, you're in crisis. Figure it out.
So Secular says, unless there are other reasons why you want out of your marriage, perhaps you should lighten up. Some people smoke marijuana to relax or
Light up?
relieve
What?
or to relieve tension, depression, or even boredom. Okay, literally any action relieves boredom. This is an unfair, like,
You know what also
I
really
could read a book, or
you know one of those paddles that has the rubber band ball on it?
Yeah.
If your husband of 50 years comes to you and goes, I'm smoking weed because I'm bored, buy him a Game Boy.
Yeah. Or vacuum the place. Or
Listen
I
to
don't know.
Live from the Path.
Howard, have you picked up Game of Thrones recently?
Yeah.
It's about 7 seasons long. You could watch that.
Get a garden going, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of options to cure
Literally
boredom.
more constructive things.
Okay, do you know why your husband does it on a daily basis and why you are bothered to the point you are considering divorce? Before talking to an attorney, you might benefit from attending a few Naranon meetings to gain some insight. They're as near as your computer at naranon.org.
Going to Naranon and saying that, like, weed is your problem, I promise you will get laughed out of that
Yeah,
room.
my 70-year-old husband started
My
smoking
70-year-old
weed.
husband started smoking weed daily, and he's addicted to it.
Yeah.
At Narcotics Anonymous.
These dudes are like, I live in my car.
Literally, I've been to these meetings. You can't speak at a Naranon meeting unless you, like, recently were doing heroin. Just saying. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Last one.
Yep.
Dear Life from the Path, I recently bought a new house. I was downsizing because my mother has passed away and my daughter went out of state to college. I invited my best friend and her son over. We have been best friends since junior high, and I love her dearly. I actually bought my new furniture with weight considerations as a factor because she and her son weigh about 1,000 pounds combined. It's a weird way to put that. Why would you include their combined weight?
Got the heavy duty.
Have you seen 1,000-Pound Sisters on TLC? It's basically that.
Weird. Okay, hold on. I will finish it up.
I'm so excited for this.
As they sat down, my friend joked about having broken other people's furniture in the past. Then there was an audible crack as they sat down on my couch. At the same time, these freaking dudes, how long you been a little bit north
Let's
of heavy?
bounce,
You know what
Mom.
I'm saying? Like, hey, I realize that we put a little stress on the furniture. We should double team this couch and sit down at the exact same time.
I hate these people.
Okay, hold on. It's not done. She just looked at me and made no comment. Live from the Path, I know friendship is more valuable than a couch, but she wants to bring more of her family over to visit. I simply can't afford to buy a $900 couch every few months. Can you please help?
$900 couch was not reinforced.
Are you friends with the clumps? Like, what is happening? They want to bring more of the friends over. I can't possibly imagine that all three of them are going to sit on the couch at the same time.
We gotta be real careful here, fellas. It's light territory.
Oh, light territory, huh? That seems to be a problem. I think that's the problem, Mike.
Okay.
They can't handle light territory.
Let's see.
I'm hoping that this friend legitimately is looking for advice to, like, reinforce her floors, to figure out, like, we should be worried about your toilet bowl, and, like, you should have
I have to poop. Not here. You don't. It's a brand new toilet.
Listen to me, Leroy.
one for you outside.
I audibly heard a crack. I'll be honest. I've heard that from a 100-pound person sitting on a couch before. These people have not been fat long. Okay?
What are you new to fat?
Listen to me. As a seasoned vet, okay? I grew fat slowly. I like to say I marbled over time. I know full well that I hover for a moment before I sit on any
Check
new
some
furniture.
integrity first.
Yes, I check. Yeah. I scope the place out. I know if you bought new furniture, I'm not the one sitting on that. If I can't see the metal that's holding that thing together, I'm not sitting on it. Like, this is just flat out truth. I'm happy to sit on the ground, and then I'll struggle to get up. It's the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
But like, there's no situation where me and Fatty McGee next to me are going to go, you know what we should do? Do a synchronized swimming to sit down on this couch together at the same time and then see what happens with the structural integrity of these 4 legs. I bet this is just fine. If they've been fat long enough, they know the negative angle that their knees had to get at to get down to that couch because they've had to think of the physics and structural integrity of everything they've ever dealt with. Forget these people. Forget these people. I'm angry as a fat man. I'm angry as a fat man. As someone that has broken chairs before and immediately turned around and went, ooh. The amount of times that they heard that crack. Like, I promise you they heard that crack. Either that or they're fat and oblivious, which is the worst kind. Like, that's ridiculous. You should know that you're on my 1,000-pound sister's life. Sorry. I'm going to get real angry about this. I should probably stop talking, fellas, because I'm angry for all fat people. Because, like, some of us just don't give a good name. Me, I wear undershirts, so I never got any downstairs belly flop. Like, I'm a firm believer that you tuck in the front and the back so nobody ever has to see part of your business that they didn't want to. I'm a firm believer in 2 showers a day, and I'm a firm believer in check all the furniture before you sit down on it, or you stand and deal with knee pain for 2 days. Do you want to know why? Because I may be fat, but I have shame, and I know how to live in that life. I have self-respect, and I respect the people around me. And I respect the people around me enough to feel bad if I break their furniture and then replace it. Sorry. I apologize. I'm just real angry right now.
It's so ridiculous. It feels like Edward Scissorhands and his buddy Tom Scissorhands come in and they're like,
This really feels like the clumps. Like, you've been fat. This is, sorry.
Like they both, like what you're imagining in your mind is that they both sit down, it cracks and breaks, and they look at each other and be like, oh!
Yes, I guarantee you they heard it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fat doesn't collect around your eardrums. It may get everywhere else, but it doesn't do that.
Okay, hold on. Apart from the cartoonish ridiculousness of this particular situation.
What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Buy more sturdy couches.
Yeah, I tried to be thoughtful about my friend, but she brought her fat son, too, and I didn't account for both of them being here. And now they want to bring 4 more. My fridge and my budget can't handle this, friends. What do I do?
I gotta be honest.
If public restaurants.
If they're as big as you're in, like, how many couches are you going to own? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're as big as you're saying, ain't more than 2 of them on this couch at once anyway.
No.
What are you going to own, 4 couches?
Right, exactly. It's not the Nutty Professor. I promise you, if they are 1,000 pounds together, that means that either both of them are close to 500 pounds, or one of them is 400 and the other is 600. You know this situation at that point in time, and you're starting to get to a point where you're not walking that much, to be honest with you. But, like,
okay, this is going to feel like a mildly insensitive question.
Based off of what all I've said the last 15 minutes, I think you're fine.
Okay. Is a folding chair, will it work?
Yeah. Metal.
Is there like a too wide of a person where, like, the folding chair won't do it?
If you're a big one, like myself, you look for arms on chairs.
Yeah.
And if there's no arms, we're all good.
Yeah, okay.
My natural enemy is armchairs.
I used to have a small group of very large people.
I was probably in it.
And your father.
Yeah, my dad
Who brought his own chair.
You bet we did.
He brought his own chair.
Do you want to know one of the best things I learned from my dad? Buy a chair, keep it in the car.
Yeah.
And I heard cracks.
Yeah.
On the couches.
Totally.
We met outside a lot.
It happens. Yeah. Set me on a picnic bench, friend. I'll be fine. You want to know what we do? We sit on stairs a lot.
Hey,
Truth. We sit on stairs a whole bunch. You see a fat person sitting on a stair, it's because they love you.
Because they love you.
They
scanned
and they
the room
recognize.
and went, nah.
And there's a chance they scanned that room and went, I don't trust any of this.
None of this.
I don't trust a single one of these things. And like people that love me go, Hoover can't be here. Like, look at this place. We can't do this kind of thing. There's arms on all the chairs. We ain't got this kind of thing. If you only have chairs that look like they're an airplane seat, you didn't invite me to a place where I feel invited to. Okay?
I'll be outside.
So metal folding chairs will do you.
Will do you.
Yeah.
But it's real conspicuous.
Yeah.
Like, here's the deal. If you bring me out a metal folding chair, I know you know. I know you know.
I know.
Now,
you know
obviously,
I know.
there's nothing I'm hiding. Like, there's no part of me that's like, you bring out a metal folding chair and I go, I can't believe they figured it out. No doctors come up to me and go, we got a bit of a problem, son. And I'm like, we do. Like, there's no...
Nobody told me.
There's no pun intended. There's no hiding here. You can't... I don't hide well. Like, it's just not a true situation. No fat people play hide and seek on their own. They were forced to in gym class. But like... Or at playgrounds. Anyway, folding chairs are fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking this doctor who's like, sir, we have to talk about...
Oh, I'll be honest.
The elephant in the room.
And it's you.
And it's you.
I've messed with doctors before where they've been like, so we've got a little bit of a weight issue. And I'll just be like... Is it really? Is it that bad? And they're
like this happened.
Exactly. I woke up recently and like I got stung by a bunch of bees and like I thought maybe that had to do with it or something.
Just a cough.
Right. Nobody wakes up at 6:40 unless they've been in a coma. I've been over 600 pounds before and I've been asked to weigh myself at the zoo. Okay, like that is a real situation. I wish I made that up for a bit. I respect that doctor more than I respect any other member of the health community because he looked at me and went, we need your weight because that's kind of part of what we do. And my machine will break if you step on it. And so you have three options. You can go to the zoo where they weigh animals. You can go to the UPS where they weigh pallets of mail. Mm-hmm. Or you can go to the landfill where they weigh cartloads of trash. Those are your three major options, friend. And like, I've never respected a man more in my life because he was willing to look me in the face, recognize that I could have had him for lunch and probably wouldn't have even burped after, and then literally was like, all right, fatty, no friends. You got three options, and one of them's male, one of them's trash, and one of them's tigers. You choose what you want.
Which one comes with ice cream?
You pachyderm of a man.
Oh, tigers for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. No, I legitimately, I thought it was poetic to choose the dump because that's what it felt like at that time, was real trash, and so that's what I went for. Yeah, foldable chairs are perfectly fine. They should bring their own. My 1,000-pound life shouldn't sit on anything together that isn't on four wheels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. So that wasn't advice for you, though. Good luck.
Yeah, like it's difficult because of like if they are truly oblivious, either they're which is really hard to take
then
in,
you
right?
got no shot,
or they legitimately like don't care about you. Like to be fair, like and Boo was right. Like this wraps up into a lot of shame and like, you know what I'm saying, like realization that like you don't want to admit that you're causing this level of problem. Yeah, right. And so maybe you try to ignore it a little bit, and then other people are paying the consequences, and like there's a lot of grace to be had in the way we're having this conversation, so like, but like if her advice is, I mean, how close are you to these people? You know what I'm saying? Like
friends since junior high is wild. That like you've probably known kids since he was born.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I almost said a thing that I would have made myself laugh and it wouldn't have been fun. I almost said there's no real good way to tiptoe around this. I can make that joke because I've been over 660 pounds before and I had to weigh where they weigh trash, okay? I get it. Kindred spirits. We've all been to KFC. Legitimately, though, like this is a really hard place to walk in because if you're getting to that point of obesity, there is severe mental illness that's been involved or severe mental issues that have been, maybe not mental illness to the point, most likely, but like there's severe depression, there's major depression that's going on. This is a hard conversation to have. There's a chance they heard it, but there was no part of their brain that could have possibly owned up to it because there was so much shame and embarrassment in that they were just like, of course this happened. And I guarantee you they left there and went to McDonald's. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that's their coping mechanism. And it's really hard to do.
It's cyclical for sure.
It really
it feels like crap, and so you try to associate with the food.
It's such a hard thing to get out of. And like you were born into it, you grew up in it, it was your whole family, all this different stuff. Here's the deal. Like there's a certain level of this where it's just part of being a decent human being is like you don't have to replace a couch every 3 months. Like don't get me wrong, but like figure out a way to like see if you can love that person, and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be friggin' hard because there's no way to be like, hey, Jill, you came over to my house with your son, you broke my couch. What do you think about going to the gym together? Like that's a hard conversation to have, and you're really backed into a corner with this. But like what I can hope for you is that like by you loving them and being someone that can be there for them legitimately is one less person that they have to feel horrible around all the time, and maybe that causes a break in the storm. And there's a little bit of sunshine that gets in there that gets to that point. I've lost 300 pounds now because people loved me when I was real in a place where I was gaining weight. I didn't smell great all the time. I was broke broken and it was hurting all the time. And it took people to just be there and like allow me into that. And more importantly, it took Jesus getting into my life and going like, there's better ways. Like, son, I love you. And like, we can work through this shame together. So it's a hard place.
So it wouldn't be horrible advice to be like, I mean, pick up a couple folding chairs. They might be relieved.
Put a cinder block under that couch.
That's what I'm saying. We put bricks under our couch. Nobody ever knew it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had cinder blocks under every couch and bed, and being totally honest about it. And it's like, it seems crazy and it seems wild, but like it really is. It's such a loving thing to be able to do.
Absolutely.
Because like, you know what you don't do? You go, hey, Jill, you owe me for a couch. You and your fat son broke it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm worried that you might be that kind of person if I'm being totally honest about it, that I'm seeing this as a life from the path or dear life from the path, but still. Pursue being a real human and imagine what it's like to be in their shoes.
Okay, Secular says, your friend should have offered to pay to have your new sofa repaired or replaced. That she heard the wood crack under the burden of their weight and said nothing speaks volumes to me. In the future, visit her at her home, but refrain from inviting her to visit or bring relatives to your home again.
Yeah, go to her house and then power bomb onto her couch so that it feels what it was like for them to sit on yours. You're right.
Yeah, don't invite them to your house anymore. Come on. We're not living this way.
Right.
This is not the way we're living.
Nope.
That is not a solution, nor
Not
is
if
it
you're great
loving,
friends.
generous, any of that. All that's garbage.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, we really made light of that situation.
Yeah. It's the only thing that was light about it.
You wanna sit down on the couch at the same time?
Let's jump.
So mad. Let's sit down together, man.
I gotta be honest.
two.
Like people who are not like obese don't do this. No one synchronizes the time they're gonna sit down on a chair.
But
It's ridiculous.
Sometimes we do have to coordinate the level at which our knees give out. Just being honest. Like sometimes it's we made it to the couch and now we're done. Strategically placed 2 couches. Yeah, maybe that's the actual move is buy a second couch because it's cheaper to have them sit on 1 couch each and not have to replace. Oh gosh, sorry.
Yep. All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. 515-517-0085. Call or text with any feedback for us on the show. Otherwise, we're going to turn you back over to your life. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll probably be back next week. We'll see. But in the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to